you probably are drawing on your subconscious or your inner voice more than you are sitting at a table with a pen and a pad trying to figure it out.
I'm never sitting at a table.
Ever.
I've
No tables.
never sat at a table. What is
This is more of a workbench, a creative slab of wood.
Yeah, this is like kind of too big to be a table.
Are you a table person? You left the last words of the album to be the last song title. It all was beautifully pulled together in a really lovely and thoughtful way. So let's just talk about the song. Where were you and where did it come from?
I started writing it. I was in New York in a hotel room, and I was feeling these things. I was realizing finally, like, wait, I'm not the person I want to be if I love someone and I'm not telling them. And I think a lot of people are like, should I say something? Should I not? So many friends of mine.
Sitting in indecision.
Yeah, I think that if it's real love, it should be said. You know, there might be disappointment that someone doesn't want a relationship, or there might not be the romance or fantasy that you wish there was, but real love is a good thing no matter what happens. And kind of like since writing that, whenever people come to me for advice about that, I'm just like, say it.
Be brave.
Just say it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge realization to have, because you're right. We justify our indecision in all kinds of different ways and ultimately lose time and space and the opportunity to change our own lives. This album to me feels like a life changer for you. It feels like it's sort of come along after what all of us, to put us in the same group, would have considered was the life-changing album. But actually that's you and your friends, and circumstances changed, but this feels like a life-changing experience.
Yeah, it's definitely the record that has taught me the most. It's definitely the most like current. Like while writing it, I was realizing these things.
Oh, wow. Are you outrunning them, catching up to them, or hoping that you can stay in them?
Whoa.
Right? Because you're not reflecting. So it's got to be some of the other things. Because reflection is like, well, I've already experienced it, so I've got to make sense of it. This is like, let me get it while I've got it, or let me manifest it while it's within arm's reach. It's all a whole different experience, isn't it?
I guess a lot of the time I felt I was like in a mystery. And so I would start writing from like, what is this? And then by the end of the song, I'd be like, oh, it's that? That's unexpected.
And so when you listen back to it as in some form, perhaps it's just yours at that moment, or is in the studio and it's taking some form or shape, I guess it's the closest thing to understanding what you're feeling without actually knowing you're feeling it.
Say that, brother.
Yeah. So like you finish the song, you listen back to it, you're kind of surprising yourself just in a way like we had before. And then comes the decision, like, do I finish it? Do I release it? Is it too close to the bone? Are there songs that have been too close to the bone for you to share at this point in your life?
Yeah, for sure. This felt really close to the bone, but then I'm like, it's what I have to give. Like if I were to like throw all of these out and write a bunch of fiction, that would be fine. I could see enjoying writing fiction, but I don't know, to not be sharing this would actually feel dishonest. And it's not like I need people to understand me, and I can't even really make people understand me even when I'm trying, but this is how I understand myself. And so it's just what I have.
Forever is a Feeling is the name of the album. Dacus, the Dacus is here with us, having a conversation. What's in the cup?
Throat coat, always. Okay, the quote though, what a desolate place would be a world without a flower.
You'd never write that though. It's
No,
way too bass.
I don't think I would write
Way too
that.
bass. That sits beautifully on a tea bag.
Yeah, perfect for that much space.
So how hard are you on your own writing? Are there times when you write something because you feel it in the moment and you're like, you know what? I am going to overthink that. I'm not sure that sits well with me.
I'm not hard on my writing at all. I just know when something's done or not. So if I don't like it, it's not done. It's not like it's bad.
How long do you like it for before you can't listen to it ever again?
I have to listen to it because I play it at the shows.
But that's different, because that's a communal experience. We get to share the songs. I mean, like, listen to the music that you've made, because that's pretty common. You know this. Most people can't listen to their own records when they're finished.
Yeah, I don't listen to my records like for fun. In fact, even when I'm making a record, I don't listen to it unless I'm showing it to someone.
Interesting.
Because if I listen to it too much, it'll just like the tracks of it will get too ingrained in my brain and I won't feel flexible in changing things.
Wow, so you leave it with collaborators, whether they're engineers, mixers, or whatever, and you just kind of move on to the next thing, and then you figure out how it's going to sit together, and so you try to stay as removed as possible.
Oh, I don't leave the room at all. I'm hands-on every part of making it, but when I'm out of the studio and like getting perspective, I'm not like I'll listen to it a little bit, maybe like if I'm trying to figure out a transition between songs or like figure out if I really mean the lyrics. But overall, I don't want to get tired of it.
I think I just want to enjoy the process as much as I can before I let it go.
That's nice.
You know?
I guess I listen to my voice memos a lot before going to the studio.
So that's your version of that, maybe?
Yeah. Because usually I'll write like out loud to myself on a walk and I'll get home and make a little voice memo. And then that, I have to like enjoy that.
So needless to say, you probably are drawing on your subconscious or your inner voice more than you are sitting at a table with a pen and a pad trying to figure it out.
I'm never sitting at a table.
Ever.
I've
No tables.
Never sat at a table. What is
This is more of a workbench, a creative slab of wood.
Yeah, this is like kind of too big to be a table.
Are you a table person? Like, no, genuine question. Like at dinner, would you prefer to be sitting around, or how are you in formal situations?
In formal situations?
Yeah.
In my I like to kind of eat everywhere but a table. Sometimes
I'm figuring this out.
You're feeling that, unless people are over and like to set the table and have light some candles.
Oh, like a
whole thing,
like a dinner party thing.
Yeah.
What do you do with music at a dinner party?
Almost every dinner party start with D'Angelo, Black Messiah, front to back, and then by the end of it, someone has said, "Oh, you know what we should listen to?"
And then someone else gets the aux.
Yeah, and then honestly, if we don't figure out something else, we'll restart that. But that's the starting point. Richmond, Virginia. Shout out.
Well, not just him and you. And I mean, the Virginia, something special. Something in the water, as they say. Mm-hmm. Pretty amazing.
Flesh-eating bacteria.
Is that
actually?
What it is?
Yeah, in the James River.
So you're all creative X-Men is what you're saying to
some
degree. You've been transformed to some kind of mutant variety of artistic spirit. So let's get back to the circumstances changing and the decision. It's not even a decision, I'd imagine. It's just it's a compulsion or a feeling to want to make something new. But to come off what you've been through before, which just looked like a riot. I mean, this is so much fun to actually have a conversation with you because I'm just a blubbering idiot when the three of you come into the room. You know this. I'm just like...
I was like, last time I was here,
you had your friends.
I had my backup.
You had your crew.
You know.
And it was really fun. And it was fun to see that on stage at all the shows. And it was fun to see you come out at award shows and do the SNLs and all that stuff. And it just looked like it was... I know how much hard work it is. We all do. You really committed. But when you look back on it now and the work evaporates a little bit because work is work, just fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was fun in the moment. It's fun looking back. It was a lot of work in the moment. It was a lot of work looking back. I don't know. It's not separate from life. And I feel like I've really enjoyed, like I was looking forward to coming and talk to you because I'm like, oh yeah, I know that guy. I've talked to a few like radio stations or other people that I met through that I guess I'm kind of like building trust with. I feel more comfortable like entering spaces with them. Whenever I return to those spaces, I have an automatic kind of like warmth for. It's
a nice way to introduce yourself to people you don't know under strange circumstances when you have friends next to you, right? And you can kind of roll. And I think music and art to this point is increasingly singular experience. I think even a lot of people making music on their own, technology allows us to find out what we want to find, I'm not saying the group mentality and collaboration doesn't exist, but it just feels like there's more opportunity to sit on your own than there was when you were kind of like, well, I need a bass player. I need a drummer. I need someone I can bounce these songs off.
Right.
From being in the band and coming back to just yourself. If that's kind of what inspired you to want to be more open and collaborative on this record because you like it, because you just wanted that.
Yeah, I like being like, this is as far as I can think. And then someone else picking up the ball and being like, well, here's 3 more avenues you didn't think of. And I had like so many different producers on it because really it was like, I knew generally how it would need to feel by the end of it.
Yeah.
but I didn't always know how to get there. I feel like I can get it like 85%. And then the 15, I need help and I need different perspectives and I need to try a lot of different things. And yeah, like I think I was in like 5 different studios and it was like over a year recording it.
That's a perfect way to approach making a record, right? Is to not feel like you've limited time, limited space, just any limitations at all. And you hear it. Like, it sounds to me like you were searching the feeling you got it. How did you know you had it? When did you know that it was done?
It is kind of hard to know because you could tinker forever.
Execution
I have
is tricky.
friends that have been working on the same record for like 7 years. And I'm like, I think you like working on this more than releasing it, which is cool.
Yeah.
And respect.
I can relate to that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I have songs, again, it's like it's not like whether the writing's good or bad. It's either done or not. And I have writing that I've been like working on for 12 years or something. Not actively. It's just you kind of have to wait until things come together. But what was the question?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it was something to do with how did you know that Forever is a
Something
feeling
is done.
is complete, yeah. How did you know that you had this song that was going to finish it and okay, I can let it go now, like this is it?
Well, each song has to succeed for me on a mysterious metric. I just have to listen to it and be like, I could do this or that, but it wouldn't actually change the effect. And it's not done until...
By the effect, you mean feeling?
Yeah. And it's kind of random what works. Like the last thing we recorded was Harp, and that finished Forever's a Feeling and Come Out and Modigliani. Just in one fell swoop, those songs were like, it's not quite there. And then Luna Lee came and tracked a bunch of cool harp. And I was like, yeah, that was it. I think the mystery can be frustrating for people, but just like take your time. Being in the mystery doesn't mean that you're like incapable. It's just like, just keep messing around.
Is that a sort of a space you try to get into in your life, even outside of creativity, which is like being okay, being in the gray and the ambiguous and the mystery of things?
Yeah. Nuance abounds.
Damn it, I was going to be... Oh! That was a begrudged explosion. I even went to the restroom before we started this and I was like, I've got to figure out how to get nuance abounds in this interview, and you just did it. Dacus, you beast.
Sorry.
Fucking hell. I mean, with the greatest of respect, love, and admiration, kind of fuck you. You know, I was so ready to do that.
I guess I was
you're
too.
You're so proud of yourself as well.
We're both like, nuance abounds.
I'm so mad. I'm more angry at the fact that I made a conscious decision after you said that when you were in the green room to try to figure out how I was going to get it in than I am that you got it in before me.
I think this is not making sense probably to anyone, but...
We were in the green room. Dacus said something like, nuance abounds, and then we were all just obsessed with those two words sitting together because they just feel really weird. Nuance abounds, nuance abounds. What is nuance abounds? And then, you know, neither of us said it, but we both had an unspoken decision, I suppose. We were going to factor it in.
I didn't really decide that. Yeah, you just kind of led me to nuance abounds.
Well, now I'm real mad because I did. I went to the restroom and was like, I'm going to get that shit in.
You looked in the mirror, you were like, nuance abounds, nuance abounds.
She's smart. For once in my life, I'm going to be smarter than the Dacus.
If you say nuance abounds 3 times in the mirror, nuance appears behind you.
Nuance abounds.
Yeah.
Okay, we've really lost everybody now.
Yeah.
So if you've always been a fan of nuance abounds, see, I was 2 minutes too late. What kind of kid were you?
I really love to be at the base of a tree. I really love to be in a tree. I'd love to get all of my stuff and find like a hollowed out something, or like, you know, in a big bush, like as a kid, you could get under it and it kind of looks like a rainforest.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Or like if someone had a closet under the stairs, or like my parents' bed was at a diagonal to the corner. So it made this corner.
Yeah, space
that was private. Going into a tiny place with all of my things was like my favorite thing to do, which I still kind of do. Yeah. I love my, like, I don't know, my house is kind of small and full of
cozy.
My books, and yeah, it's very cozy.
It's your spot.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of a similar guy. I'm trying to hang out with a tree.
Yeah.
And think my little thoughts.
Somehow you find yourself in a job that requires you to be in big rooms and sometimes in uncomfortable situations probably. And so, but that's just maturity, right? Like you can't stay in your private universe forever. You've got to figure out how to be in both. Have you figured out how to take it with you? Like when you're in rooms of people and it's lots of people really happy to see you and really celebrating you or whatever, is there a part of you that is in your private space still?
Yeah, I think I have to believe that people are with me in good faith. Especially at shows, like they bought a ticket, they want to be there, they want to have a good time, and they appreciate what I do, and I appreciate them being there. So I can just kind of ruminate on like the positive aspects of that. Yeah, and then in my personal life, just like keeping it low key.
Keeping it low key.
Keeping it low key.
And yet people love you and they love your music and that draws them. Look, you called it, man. We spoke about it. Like Bite the Hand was like, this is the playbook. Understand.
Yeah.
Understand. I'm very aware of how this can go.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true. It can get weird.
It was a very self-aware moment for any artist that at a point you already were releasing great songs, but at the point of something you knew was going to be fascinating to all three of your various fan bases, to establish a point of view that was like, look, let's try to keep the weird as low as we possibly can.
Mm-hmm. I just like, I'm remembering that you're a person when I'm seeing you.
Do the same
like,
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think actually a lot of artists aren't or can't. It's kind of nerve-wracking. I make a lot of eye contact in my shows because I have to remember, like, I go to shows and I stand there and I'm a person and I'm not you just have to like fight, especially when there's like this exchange involved, like people buying tickets thinking they're entitled to something. Like you have to mentally block against commodifying yourself or other people. I think this is like outside of music too.
Yeah.
I think this is maybe like no matter what your job is, it's just kind of in the air. It's the capitalism of it all. We're all commodifying ourselves. You have to like really just stay centered on the fact that everybody is their own
Otherwise
person.
it gets really performative, not just in the performance industries.
Yeah.
Like socializing is by its very nature quite a performative thing.
Yep.
And a word that keeps coming up with other friends of mine and people I interview in the arts right now is this kind of search for balance. This balance between kind of like the identity that we all get to know and appreciate and in a very sort of like above board way kind of fall in love with because of the music, right? And then who the person actually is behind that. And it seems to me like the time is up almost for the kind of rock star era of like, what you see is what you get. I'm the same person. Love me, love my music. It's like, no. We would like to actually do both.
Mm-hmm.
Does that resonate with you, this idea of meaning so much to people when you play your shows and putting music out, but also saying, there's going to be limitations to this.
There's only so much you can control is one thought I just had. And then the other thought was balance implicates that it's two things, but it's not. Like your life is one thing. When people talk about work-life balance, I feel like maybe there's some flaw in that because your work is your life too. So, and I think sometimes people are like work-life balance, they're trying to figure out, okay, how much rest do I actually need in order to be more productive or to be okay with the work that I'm doing? And it's like, there might not be an amount of rest. It might not be a math problem. It's like the balance is kind of you with yourself.
But that's always, to me, I think, where the stickiness has been at least presented as the stickiness is coming from this place of like, hey, don't get it twisted. The songs are the songs and I am who I am. But you're potentially suggesting from what I'm getting from you is that actually, if you keep it simple and then you're just able to kind of like create some normal human boundaries, then there's less sort of a mystery and fascination over you because it's like, well, the songs are me and I'm the songs and it's the same thing.
Yeah. Yes. I love that people love my music.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like, I'm not being like, don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Like, I care. I would not be doing all of this if I didn't want people to hear it and maybe have a nice time and something they can take away. Like, it just is like, yeah, check your behavior.
Check your behavior.
Like, and also, like, I was just thinking, like, this is my fourth record. And this is the first record, maybe a little bit the past two with boygenius and home video, but people are asking me about fame a lot. And I'm wondering if it's because they can tell I'm just some guy reporting from the field. Like somehow I'm in all of these places where they're like,
you're undercover.
I feel kind of undercover. I'm like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been funny. Just like this whole I'm very interested in, I guess, notoriety, like you said, with the bite the hand thing, or wanting to have, some distance, and how to maintain mutual respect.
It's a trade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also I think part of it is because you and the boys made getting famous look really fun. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people go, oh God, and you guys were like, well, we're having a good time. We've got each other. We've got each other's backs.
Mm-hmm.
Lean in. Have a good time with it.
Yeah.
And two of us will back the other one if the other one's struggling, and we'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah. This whole interview, I would have been looking over here for some eye contact.
Yeah,
I would have been looking over here for some eye contact. That was really nice. I am missing that.
Yeah, a bit.
But yeah, luckily, they're not the only ones. I'm making eye contact with you.
Yeah.
Like, you guys over there.
We try to create that environment. I mean,
yeah, that's why I was saying I was looking forward to coming here, because it's like that. But yeah, that you can do that at any time.
Yeah.
I think the parasocial nature of things, it's like, I understand why that happens, because it's almost like it happens more when you realize they're a real person.
Let's talk about the album. Let's talk about this music that you've made. And let's just go through some of the songs and figure out kind of what they mean to you now you've done and what you learned from them. Starting with Big Deal. To me, what I love about that song is how it's a beautifully restrained boombastic start. It's like you usher us in with weight, but it's not like sonic sound boom weight. This is the first, because I love the prelude, but it's just this. It's like this beautiful scene set for where you are in your life. Did you always know that was going to be this first song on the track list?
I thought so.
Why?
Because it, even just thematically, I mean, for me, the lyrics are kind of the whole point of the thing. And it starts with this like, oh, there's feelings on the table. We're not going to do anything about that. You're a big deal, though. Love you. Like, can't believe, but the restraint is, the arm is firmly out. And then through the course of the record, it's like being like, wait, maybe I can't live with myself if I am not honest about how I feel. Maybe it would be a colossal loss in my life if you were not near and dear to me.
Did it surprise you that you came to that conclusion, given how easy it is as human beings for us to ignore that feeling?
Yeah, I was surprised. I think I'm like very much like not trying to hurt anybody, which translates to never even getting in touch with my own desires.
Right.
And
pure fear.
Yeah. So I'd rather make the people happy around me that I care about than like, that makes me happy enough. So who cares what would make me happy independently? But I'm kind of getting over that.
That's a really powerful realization to come to. And we can talk about the feelings. So how does that feeling overshadow all the others when you know that it's how do you know it's love?
How do you know it's love? I don't even really know what you're asking by that, or what anyone would mean by that. Is it love or is it not love? Like, what is the underlying question? Because we're bound by love. So either you're acting on that or you're not. I feel like you're talking about romantic love or something.
Talking about the realization that it's like it can't sit as a unresolved feeling anymore, and therefore, because the nature of that song is to find the courage to explore it.
I guess for me, I failed at my usual business of being like, I can control how I feel and my actions and whatever. And I can control my actions, but yeah, you can't control how you feel. And I guess like my feelings were so persistent that I was like, my life is going to be unbearable if I don't live into this.
Yeah.
Like truly, I was like to a detrimental level. Just like I think I'll hate myself if I am not honest about this, if I don't make changes and make way and see about this.
there's all kinds of people that all these songs can be about, and now they belong to us. They're about all of us and all of our relationships and all the people that we care about. And that's the beauty of the sharing of music and stuff like that. But there is some like pretty brutal observations in here. There's some pretty brutal imagery. The idea of being in a pinstripe suit, being sincerely happy. There's nothing sincere about that statement, and I took it on it at all. Even though they probably meant it, it's like my initial feeling as a listener and a fan of that is like, how can you be sincere about something that you're genuinely struggling to even comprehend?
Yeah. It's
Beautiful
funny you
use
say
of the
that.
word, though. I love that. I love that.
Thanks. At the time, I was delusional. So I was like, for real, sincerely, I'll be happy.
I'm good.
Don't worry
I'm
about
good.
me.
Yeah.
And then that's part of why I'm like, okay, I figured out how I felt through this record because I started there and I thought that was true. And then I realized that it wasn't and that I was going to be heartbroken.
Isn't it tough when you realize you're a liar? It's so harsh.
Well, lying, to
yourself, I mean, to yourself and to others, but primarily to yourself.
Because, like, I tried not to. Like, I go to great lengths to try and be honest, and yet there are these, like, uncovered things that, like, my intentions can be good, and they're skirting around the truth or something. Less and less, hopefully. It's funny you bring this up. I had this happen on a song from the last record, Christine, where it was about like wanting to object at my friend's wedding because I didn't think she would actually be happy, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, she's in love with this person," and I was like, "No." No.
You were that one person?
And then years after it came out, we confessed feelings for each other.
Get out of here!
Yeah, she and I dated for a while, and
yeah, I like that.
So it's interesting, it's, again, you can't rely on people understanding you, or you can't rely on everybody being reached, but I think that my fans sometimes get it more than I do. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you being like, I don't believe that at all, or like people being like, you're in love with this person, me being like,
well, I just spoke to someone earlier today who self-referenced and was mortified that he self-referenced one of his own songs, but self-referenced one of his own songs in relation to how it related to his life years later. And it made me wonder like whether or not that actually does happen. And I didn't do a follow-up with him on that. But I did think actually as the conversation moved forward, I was like, oh man, I'd love to ask Lucy that, like whether or not you ever sort of find yourself actually referencing life before you get to even live it.
Oh my gosh.
Through lyrics.
Yeah. And I think that's an instinctual thing. Like, I think some people can predict the future in that they can instinctually just tell where the rudder is pointed to. And then also if you think that that's what's going to happen, you kind of orient that way. And then you make it, the world kind of opens up in that direction. Yeah.
It's almost like your inner voice has control of the wheel for a second.
Yeah.
And it's like, listen, you may not be listening, but we're going to find a way for you to figure this shit out. Because if you're open to
annoying.
It's so annoying. So why can't it just be simple? Why can't I just rip bongs and drink beers and just pretend like none of it matters?
Well, you can.
But then none of it matters.
Really empty. Yeah.
It's pretty empty.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite songs on this album is the title track is Forever Is a Feeling. And so I wanted to focus in on that song. And obviously you feel the same way because it's the title of the album. And so you gave it the special prize. So it's just a beautiful phrase. And also a great name for an emo band back in the early 2000s.
Wow. Respect.
What's up? We're Forever Is a Feeling. Let's do this.
Wow. That just sent me somewhere. That sent me to Strange Matter in Richmond, Virginia. R.I.P.
This wonderful song, where were you when you wrote that?
So I wrote the phrase Forever Is a Feeling first, just in my note. I kind of, whenever I have a little thought like that feels interesting, I'll put it in like this long note. I have one per year.
Oh, wow. So you do it annually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's called Various Bits 2025.
Is it tactile or digital?
I try to do paper, but the digital one is, like if we were talking, sometimes I'll have a thought in the middle of talking and I'll be like, God, I hope that stays. And then I'll go back to the green room and type a little bit.
Have you had a thought during this conversation?
Actually, kind of.
Oh, yeah?
It's completely irrelevant. I think I write like this a lot.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if I'm focused on one thing,
yeah,
things kind of like boil and percolate on another level. I am here though.
So you wrote the phrase down.
Wrote the phrase down, and then I kept being like, feeling lazy, not going to touch that. You know, that'll be a good song one day. And then it came around to naming the record, and I was like, I like this as a name. So I named the record before I wrote the song. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, I always meant to write this song. I think I'm just like not putting in the legwork. And so I did sit down, scrolled through.
Sat down and went through the notes.
Went through the notes. So editing I can sit down and do, but the writing kind of has to come whenever. This doesn't apply to writing for other people, which I really enjoy doing. I want to do more of, because that feels like an amazing puzzle. So it's different. I can sit down and I write I'll be like, okay, here's 4 verse options. And then...
Well, it makes total sense, because if you're writing for yourself, really, you're waiting for that inner voice to speak to you, whereas you're writing for somebody else. It's like, that inner voice may not apply to this person's life.
I just listen to their whole discography, and I try to internalize what matters to them.
That's
and then
cool.
That kind of like gives a framework from where to start from. And also talking to people. Anyways, different.
Yeah, discipline.
Kind of completely different skill set.
Yeah.
But I saw these bits that I wished had gotten together. Like the idea in the first verse of someone driving you and you knowing the shortcut, and them knowing the scenic route and you not saying anything, so that you can spend more time together in the car. Yeah. Like that was one idea.
It's almost like the big screen, like the big major studio version of the Leonard Cohen's indie film.
Oh yeah,
a little bit.
It is
like you sort of like did the short film and everyone loved it, and so it's like, okay, let me make write a big script about that.
We'll do the whole script. Yeah, and also like that is being in cars is so rife for intimacy. You're stuck there. You're between your lives. You just have to be. You're usually showing each other music, or I feel like I've had some of the most important conversations of my life in the car.
Well, you're also concentrating on something simultaneously, which takes the anxiety away from being super focused on you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like
you can't make eye contact.
You can't make eye contact. It's way more comfortable to talk about deep shit when you're looking where you're going or looking out the window than it is sitting at a table.
Yeah.
Do you like road trips? Do you like to drive?
I don't drive.
You don't have a license?
I had one, and
who had a license?
I had a permit
to let a
I literally know how, and I had like a scary I can tell you driving home from recording No Burden, actually, like before really anything happened, like my first record. I was 3 hours into driving from Tennessee to Virginia, and someone tried to merge into me without a blinker, and I slammed on the brakes so hard I lost control of the car on a 4-lane highway where one side was a cliff face, and the other side there was a metal barrier, and then there was a bridge, and I went in 3 circles all the way around, took my hands off the wheel like Jesus Take the Wheel style, and said to the person in the car, "I'm sorry," and they said, "It's okay." And like time slowed down. And then as if I parallel parked in a spot as big as the car, between the metal rail and the bridge, my car just whoop. And like we weren't hit at all, but like all these other cars had to like swerve and get out of the way. It was like really dramatic looking. Like 18-wheelers were trying to dodge us. No one got hurt. Everyone pulled over and like, "Are you okay? We saw that guy." Crazy. I know you're supposed to get back in the saddle. I just didn't.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Not to be too sort of hyper-focused on that experience, but how did it affect your life beyond the driving in terms of like, hey man, look, there are things out there I just can't control and things I don't understand. How did my car end up here, and how did me relinquishing control ultimately end up in the best possible scenario from a potential tragedy?
Well, this is funny to say. I called like the person I was with at the time, and I was like, "Oh my God, I almost died." And they were like, "What?" And like some girls like laughing in the background, and like they were cheating on me. And so I was like, wow, I need to go home and think about this. Like
wow.
Yeah. So that's an immediate thing.
That ain't lost on me or anybody. That's an intense wake up call.
Absolutely.
Woo!
Yeah. So there's that. I think I just stay aware that I'm not in control of much, and that life is just a collection of close calls. I feel like whether you're paying attention or not, there's at least 1,000 a day. And
that's fair.
That was just a really obvious one.
Do you feel looked down upon in a good way? Do you feel that there's a spirituality attached to your life?
I thought you meant like look down upon, like.
Right now in the studio, do you feel looked down upon?
Do you look down upon? Like you're not a good driver, or
so granular. I was so moving forward into the wide macro, and you were like, "Wait, I wasn't even the one who cut me off. Like, what are you talking about?" Do you put much emphasis into the spiritual experience before outside of this physical experience?
It was emphasized in my youth so much that I'll always have a shadow of it everywhere. And honestly, I'm coming all back around and thinking there's something kind of delightful about that.
So it was a pretty heavy religious influence in your life when you were younger?
Absolutely, yeah. I grew up in a Baptist church in Virginia.
Yeah.
Went non-denominational at a time, which I thought was like progressive and cool, but they actually do that, I found out, because if you stay within a denomination, you have to switch out the pastor. So I think it might have been so that our pastor could keep his job.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
I don't know for sure, but
that's practical.
He was also very smart.
Yeah.
I like learned a lot about Aramaic and stuff, like kind of like nerdy parts of like Christianity. But
so you stayed interested in the concept of religion, but you just didn't want to be beholden to one particular ideology at that time in your life.
Yeah, I think about these things all the time. I mean, it comes up on the record. Like I just did all these shows in churches and museums and stuff. Especially the church shows felt cool because I'm like singing the songs and being like, oh, there I am talking about God again. In here.
Are we good? Are we good?
You know,
Yeah.
I think at their best, they are a refuge and they're a reminder of like all that is worth reverence and stillness.
Shit, you can't help but fucking talk in song, huh? It's a reminder of all that is worth reverence.
Oh my God.
That's another emo band. What's up? We're all that's worth reverence. Let's do this shit. Yeah. It's true.
I'm sorry. I think it's just kind of like that.
When you say you're coming back to it and you're sort of starting to think about it again and kind of some of that's probably like life lived and maturity and acceptance of like that we live lots of lives. It's nice when sometimes they meet up and understand each other rather than just get rejected for growth. You know what I mean?
I think it is more than like growth in one direction. Having an understanding that loops back around is really humbling. I think that's maybe what you're saying.
Yeah, it is.
And like, I don't know, I never had like a Mom and Dad, I don't believe in God like type of moment. Like I'm confessing that I don't get that. Like I think I thought about God so much it kind of sublimated, and I just started to feel like hubris. And like if I think I can speak on this as one little guy, this is way bigger than me.
Let me play my position.
Yeah, I still think about it a lot, but and then just like shades and eras of anger at the way people use religion to hurt each other, and the way like religion is wrapped up into our political climate, and
for sure. That's the sadness of it.
Yeah,
because I think that by its very intention, it's here to create purpose on an otherwise fairly meandering type of experience. Like, what does this mean? Like, sometimes I watch those programs, right, that are like set in the 1800s and 1900s, and I'm like, holy shit, that was just fucking brutal. Like you go outside, you're either going to get killed by somebody or mauled by a wild animal, or the winter's going to get you, or you'll get gangrene, or you stub your toe and die from sepsis, or it's just like everything is death. Do you know what I mean? And so when religion sort of comes into play, if you think about those times, it's like, yeah, God, what I got to do to get through this life.
Also, like a lot of early. We're really going all over the place, huh? But
it's kind of cool,
I say that, it's great. It's like how I like to talk to people. But early, like in the Bible, there all the stuff that is like, what we translate as like being against gayness is next to like, and a woman with child shouldn't drink the juice of a grape.
Yep.
It's like, it's just observing, like if this happens, something bad medically happens, and that was trying to protect kids from fetal alcohol syndrome.
Yeah, but it was just written in a language which is like this kind of hugely revered script, and it's like, wait, isn't that just a PSA?
Exactly. There's just some organization of how do we treat each other. Let's notice, because also like a plague of locusts, and you don't know why, somebody did something wrong and God sent this, you know, or like, oh, this child is cursed because the mother did this and God didn't like it. It's like, no, there's just a scientific reason for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think people got to lighten up on some of those things.
Yeah, for sure. So you're going to go out on the road, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really exciting for all of us to get to see you perform these songs. And, you know, I'd imagine that it's kind of nice to be able to have taken a break from being just the Dacus and making albums after album and cycle after cycle, and even just have some space to know how these songs now live with these songs. And like, I guess some of the old ones have just kind of changed shape for you a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Coming back and reacquainting yourself, even just be like, oh yeah, I can't wait to play that.
I added a band member, Phoenix Ruziamanis, who played all the violins on the record.
Amazing.
She's so great. And now that we have violin, I'm like, ooh, what can we do from the back catalog that like could benefit from a violin? And so that's been fun. I'm actually going next week to start. We've had some band practices and it's felt so good. And I was thinking about how it's so good that the shows exist. Like people that do movies and stuff, you're creative for a couple of weeks and then your whole life is promo. Mm-hmm. All of it. Mm-hmm. It sounds miserable. Like at least in music you get to perform and you get to like have one like set in time creative experiences. Like it makes me very grateful.
It's deeper than that too, because a lot of the time I've got friends who are actors, a lot of the time that they'll go out to do the promo and they only just saw the film. So it's not even they're creative, they're promoting it. They're playing an integral role in selling tickets and getting streams. But they're like, shit, I got to go out there and they don't know. And sometimes they don't like it.
Yeah.
But they got to promote it.
Yep.
And that is tough.
At least with music, you don't have to put it out if you don't like it.
That's right. It remains to this day the only remaining pure form of mass communication that isn't controlled to some degree by somebody else. If you think about it, like social media is gone. Yeah. It's gone. It's gone. It's owned and it's controlled. The media, I hate to say it, but for the most part, with a few exceptions holding on for dear life, kind of gone.
Yeah.
Whereas music remains this way to communicate with each other in a very direct frequency.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think that's why I think it's under attack a lot. I'm pretty conspiratorial about that. I think it's not just like, oh, who cares about the arts? I think it's, oh no, we really care about the arts. That's why we need to control the arts.
Yeah. I also think like shows are so important, just like physically showing up together. And there's something maybe like not even something ineffable about just being in the same place with people wanting to do the same thing for a positive reason. And
you don't even know what they believe. That's the other thing. You have no idea. You could be completely at odds ideologically, politically with the person next to you. Chances are you're going to bring a pretty like-minded group of people together, but it's not going to shock you to know that there are some Lucy Dacus fans that don't believe everything you believe, certainly politically. They just like the music. Yeah. And so you're just going to have to stand in a room with them and fucking suck it up because you don't know, right? You just don't know.
Yeah. And that's like, I guess, not the point of the time, but also it's like if you can come to care about people first, then the conversations around disagreeing can actually maybe move people in the more heartful direction, which I think is always towards a more accepting or progressive tilt.
Future.
Yeah,
because words are great, but we just keep fucking wasting them.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there's a replacement for who we are to each other physically. I think that
That's good. That's good.
I mean, obviously we're making something that's going to exist online. Online is a good place to gather information and figure out who to talk to and like kind of muse. But ultimately, like all of the ideas are for you and your life and the people around you. And I think it's like, it would be like the government's dream for everyone to be satisfied with community being something that is on your phone. Because you stay at home and you don't organize.
It's so easily controllable.
Yes. Yeah. So I think going to places and just, again, trying to take people in good faith or meeting on grounds of good faith is really important.
It's probably the only place where
nuance abounds.